The world feels colder. We see it in the news, on our streets, and sometimes even in our own homes. People rush by, eyes glued to screens, faces etched with worry. A shared sense of unease hangs in the air, a silent acknowledgement that something is amiss. This is not the world we were promised, a world brimming with hope and connection. Instead, we find ourselves navigating a landscape increasingly defined by isolation, suspicion, and a marked lack of empathy. The erosion of kindness and trust represents a fundamental shift in how we relate to one another. It is a departure from the deeply ingrained human need for connection, a need hardwired into our very being. From the earliest hunter-gatherer societies to modern-day communities, human beings have always relied on cooperation, empathy, and trust to thrive. These qualities are not merely abstract ideals, they are essential ingredients for survival and well-being. When we live in a world where these qualities are scarce, the consequences are far-reaching. Loneliness and isolation become increasingly prevalent, leading to a decline in mental and physical health. Communities become fragmented, lacking the social cohesion necessary to address collective challenges. Fear and suspicion flourish, creating a climate of distrust that permeates every aspect of our lives. Our modern world has ushered in an era of speed and efficiency. We move at a frantic pace, consumed by schedules and deadlines. The 24/7 news cycle bombards us with information, fueling urgency and anxiety. It's easy to become desensitized to the needs of others. This busyness creates a culture of distraction. We rush from one task to the next, rarely present. Kindness requires awareness and a willingness to pause. This pursuit of efficiency often comes at the expense of well-being. Chronic stress can lead to a decrease in empathy and compassion. We become victims of our own success, sacrificing human connection. Creating space for stillness and reflection can counteract these effects. Rediscover the simple yet profound power of human connection. The digital revolution connects us, yet erects invisible barriers hindering genuine human connection. Social media fosters online communities but can breed comparison and superficial interactions. We curate idealized online personas, neglecting the messy reality of human relationships. Anonymity emboldens behavior we avoid face-to-face. Cyberbullying and misinformation amplify negativity and erode trust. We forget real people with real feelings are on the receiving end. Information overload leads to detachment from the real world. Technology is a tool. It can be used for good or ill. By using technology mindfully, we can spread kindness and rebuild trust. The widening gap between the haves and have-nots has created a climate of scarcity and competition. When individuals are struggling to make ends meet, their focus narrows to their own immediate needs. Extending kindness can feel like an impossible luxury. This sense of scarcity is often exacerbated by a culture that glorifies individual achievement. We are bombarded with messages that equate worth with wealth and possessions. It's easy to view others as obstacles to our own success. The result is a society that is increasingly fragmented and distrustful. Empathy becomes more challenging when we view others as competitors. We prioritize our own self-interest, eroding trust essential for a healthy society. Addressing this requires tackling both symptoms and root causes of economic inequality. Creating a more equitable society is essential for fostering kindness and trust. We live in an age defined by uncertainty. Global pandemics, climate change, political polarization, and economic instability create anxiety and fear. Trust requires vulnerability. When we feel threatened, our capacity for trust diminishes. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort and open dialogue. By choosing courage over fear, we can rebuild trust in our communities. In our quest for security, we become architects of our own isolation. Gated communities, surveillance systems, and complex digital passwords create barriers between ourselves and the outside world. These measures offer control, but erode trust in our fellow human beings. Fueled by fear-mongering headlines and social media echo chambers, we overestimate the likelihood of becoming victims. This constant exposure warps our perception of reality. As we withdraw behind our walls, we lose opportunities for spontaneous interactions. We become reliant on technology, reducing face-to-face encounters. This self-imposed isolation creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Section 2. The digital divide. Trust in the age of misinformation. The digital age, while connecting us in unprecedented ways, has also unleashed a torrent of misinformation, making it increasingly difficult to discern truth from falsehood. Social media platforms, once hailed as democratizing forces, have become breeding grounds for propaganda, conspiracy theories, and outright lies, eroding our trust in traditional sources of information and in each other. The algorithms that power these platforms are designed to maximize engagement, often at the expense of accuracy and nuance. Sensationalized headlines, emotionally charged content, and information that confirms our existing biases are prioritized, creating echo chambers where our own views are amplified and opposing perspectives are silenced or demonized. This constant exposure to misinformation has a corrosive effect on our ability to think critically and engage in constructive dialogue. We become more likely to accept information that supports our worldview, regardless of its veracity, and to dismiss information that challenges our beliefs, even if it comes from credible sources. The result is a society increasingly divided along ideological lines, where trust in institutions and experts is low, and where civil discourse is replaced by angry rhetoric and personal attacks. In this environment, it becomes increasingly challenging to find common ground, build consensus, and work together to address the complex challenges facing our world. Section 3. From strangers to suspects. The erosion of social trust. Social trust, the belief that most people can be trusted, is the bedrock of a functioning society. It is the invisible glue that binds us together, enabling us to cooperate, collaborate, and build communities based on shared values and goals. When social trust is high, people are more likely to help strangers, volunteer their time, donate to charity, and participate in civic life. However, as we've seen, a confluence of factors, from the speed of modern life to the digital divide, has contributed to a decline in social trust. We are more likely to view strangers with suspicion, to assume the worst of others, and to prioritize our own self-interest over the common good. This erosion of social trust has far-reaching consequences. It leads to a decline in civic engagement as people become less likely to participate in activities that require trust in others, such as voting, volunteering, or joining community groups. It can also contribute to social isolation and loneliness, as people retreat into their own circles of trust, cutting themselves off from the broader community. Moreover, a lack of social trust can make it more difficult to address collective challenges, such as climate change, poverty, or pandemics. When people don't trust each other, they are less likely to cooperate, compromise, or work towards shared goals. This can lead to gridlock, inaction, and a sense of hopelessness about the future. Section 4. The ripple effect. How distrust impacts our lives and communities. The decline of trust is not merely an abstract social problem, it has a tangible impact on our daily lives, our relationships, and our overall well-being. When we live in a world where trust is scarce, we carry the weight of that suspicion and fear into every interaction, every decision, and every aspect of our lives. On a personal level, a lack of trust can lead to anxiety, stress, and social isolation. We may become more guarded in our interactions, less willing to open up to others, and more likely to withdraw from social situations. This can have a detrimental effect on our mental health, leading to feelings of loneliness, depression, and even paranoia. In our relationships, a lack of trust can erode intimacy, communication, and emotional connection. We may find it difficult to be vulnerable with our partners, friends, and family members, fearing judgment, betrayal, or rejection. This can lead to communication breakdowns, resentment, and even the breakdown of relationships altogether. On a societal level, the consequences of declining trust are even more profound. A lack of trust in institutions can undermine democracy, erode public confidence in government, and make it more difficult to address social problems. When people don't trust their leaders, their institutions, or each other, It creates a fertile ground for division, polarization, and even conflict. The high cost of isolation, loneliness, and mental health. Loneliness, once whispered in hushed tones, has become a deafening roar in our modern world. Social isolation and loneliness are public health crises with far-reaching consequences. Human beings are social creatures hardwired for connection and belonging. Our brains thrive on social interaction and shared experiences. When these needs are unmet, our mental and physical health suffers. Loneliness is linked to depression, anxiety, heart disease, and dementia. Fractured families, fragmented communities, trust as the cornerstone. The erosion of trust weakens the foundations of families and communities. A family built on suspicion becomes a breeding ground for conflict and emotional distance. Children in such environments struggle to form healthy attachments, impacting their development. Communities starved of trust become fragmented and dysfunctional. Neighbors view each other with suspicion, retreating behind closed doors. Civic engagement dwindles as people lose faith in their officials and institutions. The notion of a common good becomes difficult to grasp. Communities lacking trust are less resilient in the face of challenges. They struggle to mobilize resources and work together to solve problems. Suspicion and fear lead to further isolation and division. Rebuilding trust requires open communication and a commitment to finding common ground. It means modeling empathy and compassion for our children, teaching the importance of trust and the value of strong relationships. Trust is the cornerstone of healthy families and communities. The economics of distrust, innovation, collaboration, and progress stunted. The economic consequences of declining trust are significant. Trust is the lifeblood of a healthy economy. It fosters innovation and enables global collaboration. When trust erodes, economic dynamism declines. In a low-trust environment, contracts become longer and transactions more cumbersome. Businesses become risk-averse, stifling innovation and growth. A lack of trust in institutions can lead to corruption and cronyism. Citizens lose faith in the free market, leading to black markets and tax revenue decline. Rebuilding trust requires promoting transparency and accountability, cracking down on corruption and creating a level playing field, fostering a culture of ethical behavior and valuing honesty. Trust is essential for economic progress and prosperity. Without it, innovation and collaboration are stunted. Section 4, a cycle of apathy when we lose faith in each other. Declining trust engenders a sense of apathy. Believing people are selfish creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. We become less likely to engage in acts of kindness. Apathy erodes our capacity for empathy and compassion. We become desensitized to the suffering of others. This cycle of apathy is dangerous, allowing negativity to grow. It creates a society where people feel powerless to effect change. Breaking this cycle requires choosing hope over cynicism, recognizing that small acts of kindness can inspire others, rebuilding the social fabric that binds us together. Trust and kindness are essential for a compassionate society. Section 1. Seeds of hope, where kindness takes root. Amidst the unease, there is reason for hope. Acts of compassion and trust possess transformative potential. Everyday heroes refuse to accept apathy and distrust. Neighbors check on elderly residents, strangers offer help. Volunteers dedicate time to brighten their communities. These acts are driven by a belief in humanity's goodness. They are a testament to the power of the human spirit. In a world saturated with negativity, kindness is a beacon. These acts are signposts pointing to a more humane way. They remind us of our shared capacity for empathy. Kindness can chip away at the walls of indifference. Section 2. The power of one ordinary people, extraordinary acts. Those restoring kindness and trust are ordinary people. They choose to lead with their hearts and extend friendship. Small acts of kindness create a ripple effect. A social media campaign inspired millions to spread joy. Acts like paying for coffee or volunteering create connection. A teacher prioritized respect, empathy, and kindness. Her students developed social and emotional skills. Former students credit her with shaping their hearts. These stories remind us we can make a difference, choosing kindness over indifference and empathy over judgment. Each of us has the potential to be a force for good. It starts with a simple shift in perspective. Building bridges, not walls. Communities united by trust. Communities united by trust achieve extraordinary things. They overcome challenges and create lasting change. Community initiatives rebuild trust and foster belonging. Neighborhood watch programs and community gardens connect people. A town addressed youth violence with support networks. They provided safe spaces, mentorship and resources. Addressing root causes created a more just community. Community-based solutions require time and effort. They offer an antidote to cynicism and despair, reminding us we are stronger together. The human spirit's capacity for connection remains undimmed. Trust within communities is essential for positive change. The contagion of kindness, a ripple effect of hope. Kindness spreads rapidly, transforming individuals and societies. Acts of kindness trigger positive emotions and inspire others. Scientists identify a helper's high from altruism. This ripple effect creates lasting social change. As kindness spreads, social norms shift. Cynicism gives way to empathy and compassion. Isolation is replaced by connection and belonging. Building a kinder world requires conscious effort, challenging divisive forces and dismantling inequality, creating a world where everyone feels valued. We have a choice to be part of the solution, joining the movement to build a compassionate world. Start with yourself. Cultivating inner kindness and trust. Building a kinder world begins with an inner revolution, cultivating an inner landscape of kindness and trust. This journey requires honesty and self-reflection. Examine your beliefs about human nature. Approach others with kindness and empathy. Practicing self-compassion is essential. Treat yourself with gentleness and understanding. Acknowledge your humanity and imperfections. Extend compassion to yourself and others. Building a kinder world is not about perfection. We are all works in progress. Embrace your imperfections and humanity. Embody the qualities of kindness and trust. Reflect these qualities in the world around you. Section 2. Small acts, big impact. Practical steps to spread kindness. Kindness is a way of being, practiced in everyday life. Small acts like a smile or helping hand transform lives. Practicing gratitude shifts focus from scarcity to abundance. Appreciate the good things in life. Make a conscious effort to be present in interactions. True connection requires undivided attention. Put down distractions and listen. Offer your full attention to others. A simple thank you can brighten someone's day. Express gratitude to loved ones and strangers. Acknowledge the contributions of others. Let them know their actions made a positive impact. Small acts of kindness have a big impact. Rebuilding trust. Brick by brick, conversation by conversation. Trust, like a delicate flower, requires careful nurturing. It must be earned through consistent actions. Rebuilding trust requires patience, empathy, and open communication. Honor your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you make a promise, keep it. Reliability is the cornerstone of trust. Section 4. A collective responsibility. Nurturing a culture of kindness and trust. Creating a kind and trusting world requires a collective shift in consciousness. It begins with modeling kindness and trust in our own spheres of influence. As parents, educators, and leaders, we can foster these values. Support organizations promoting kindness and trust. Building a kinder world is a continuous journey of growth and transformation. Embracing our shared humanity. Bombarded by images of division and despair, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But we must resist these whispers, for they lead only to apathy and isolation. We are not passive bystanders, we shape the world with our thoughts, words, and actions. The choice is not whether to engage, but how. Will we be architects of division or builders of bridges? Will we sow discord or cultivate connection? The path of kindness and trust leads to connection and healing. It is the choice to offer a smile instead of a frown, to extend a hand of friendship rather than a fist of anger. Kindling the flame, igniting a movement of kindness and trust. This journey begins with a single spark, a spark of compassion, a flicker of hope, an act of kindness, however small, that ripples outwards, igniting a chain reaction of empathy and connection. It begins with each of us recognizing the power we possess to be agents of positive change. Let us not underestimate the power of our collective action. When we come together, united by a common purpose, our collective light has the power to illuminate the path towards a brighter future. Envisioning a brighter future. Close your eyes and envision a world transformed by kindness and trust. Picture bustling city streets where strangers exchange smiles and where acts of spontaneous generosity are commonplace. Envision workplaces where collaboration and trust are lived values. Picture communities where differences are celebrated and where collective action is a source of pride. This is the world we can create together, a world thriving on compassion, cooperation, and where the bonds of connection illuminate our path towards a brighter future. Let us be the change we wish to see in the world.